Hello, I'm Cassie. Welcome back to my allotment journey. And I'm so sorry it's been such a while since I did a longer video. I've been doing some of the shorter videos for the 52-week harvest challenge, but I just haven't been able to get around to editing up one of the fuller length versions. And I am getting pestered by some of my viewers as to where are my videos. So I do have some allotment footage which I do need to edit, but in the meantime, while you're all waiting for that, I thought it might be quite nice on this now rather cool summer evening to just give you a little bit of a walk around my garden and show you what's happening here, because there's quite a lot going on. So this will be a sort of medium video, and then I'll work on getting the allotment ones edited because there's just so many different takes and times and days and things that I need to put together. Either that or I'll just start again with that. The trouble is I've been away quite a bit. I've been to stay away with friends, I've had festivals, I've had a heat wave, haven't we all? And then having to catch up after the heat wave and so on. And my health's not been the best, but anyway, let's move on from that and let's have a little look round here because there's lots going on. In fact, I'm sat on my bench here next to my trug of garlic that's been drying out. So this is the second of my hauls of garlic this year, which I'm quite pleased with. They're dried out quite well now, so I just need to take some of the outer layers off and do some, what do you call it, plaiting? Yes, plait them together. And then these are my not entirely satisfactory but quite sweet little shallots that I harvested. They'd stopped growing. They were just from small shallots that were left over last year that I just stuck in the ground. So, and this is how they grow. You put one in, probably about one of this size, and then excuse the grass, and then it grows out. You've got little 6 there from one. So yeah, that's okay. That's increased my shallot storage. And on here, what we've got here on this bench, we've got some strawberry pots. Now those are, you might think, well, that looks like a stackable green stalker type thing. It is. I mean, it's one of the cheap ones. But I don't have them really high because they don't get watered. And these have just been rescued from down here with the rest of them on the patio, which is my shrew food supply. I've got so many strawberry plants planted out here, down here as well, and I haven't had a single strawberry from them, but I have sat here and watched the little shrew eating all the strawberries, which is quite sweet really. And there's one of my jars of flowers, flowers I've picked in the garden today. So we've got some marjoram and some sweet peas and one little cosmos, apricot cosmos. Yeah, so I pick some flowers every few days and put them on a vase on the table. I think they look quite nice. So I'm going to start the tour around the side of the house, and I'll explain what's been going on here. So first of all, we have a very rickety, in fact it should be pulled down really, fence, which has been here since we were here over 20 years ago and really has had its day. Need to get that replaced. But against it is growing this little crimson rose bush. It was planted for my daughter's name day ceremony over 20 years ago, and I think it's had more blooms on it this year than I've ever seen before. Then look at these. I don't know if the camera's going to capture the colour quite well enough. They are a very orangey red, well, orange tinged with red actually, rose that my husband bought me recently, and they're suddenly blooming with in full glory there. Now this bed here, let me zoom out a bit. This is a bed that was covered in fruit bushes, raspberries and currants and so forth. And we had some plans to have the side of our house extended, and those, I won't go into it, but for one reason or another, those have all gone a bit pear-shaped. So I'm trying to fill the bed again. We've still, as you see, got some raspberries that have sprouted up again. But by and large, I've tried to fill much of it with some flowers. And it's still very early days, but they're taking nicely. So there's this lovely blue thistle. I think it's called Iridium, but don't quote me on it. And I've put some cosmos in. There's a little zinnia there. And I've put some snapdragons in. But it's all looking a bit thin at the moment. It was looking better earlier today, actually, because some of the sweet peas that I've got on the chair on the table were growing there, but I've cut them all back to encourage regrowth. So hopefully, later in the summer, that should be a nice little bed. I've put some of the dahlias I've grown from seed in here as well, and they look to be doing quite well, actually. So, fingers crossed. And this little flower bed here is one I've sort of brought back into use. It was the original veg patch for the garden when we first moved here. It got very grown over, and then I made it into the first my first no-dig bed before I actually had an allotment, and then it's got really grown over again, and I've no-digged it again with some cardboard and compost and put lots of flowers in here as well. In fact, there are still some Sutton's apricot foxgloves there. They're such a beautiful foxglove, I think, that sort of peachy colour. And I've got some apricot cosmos there. It is evening, so it's possibly not the best time to film, but hey-ho. But yes, we've got lots going on here. I've got some hollyhocks here. I think those, because I grew them from seed, I've got a feeling that they may not come to anything this year, and they'll come back next year, hopefully. But we shall see. And then into my greenhouse. Now this, in the spring, is my main greenhouse, but in the summer it kind of becomes a bit of an overflow greenhouse because it doesn't get the sun quite as much as the other greenhouse, and it becomes a bit messy. It's sort of where plants are left and I haven't quite got round to planting them out. So you see there's some bits of small plants there that really could do with bigger pots and potting on. There are some chilli plants in here, some of the overflow tomatoes that I've got. It's all a little bit tangled up, and oh dear, Petra's not going to be very pleased with me. We've got my so-called giant onions in their pots here. I need to look after them a bit better. But yeah, there's a few things going on in there. And just walking past the patio, you see my garlic there. It's quite a nice place to sit and just watch the world go by, really. Although not much of the world actually goes by at this garden. It's very peaceful generally. So yes, I just wanted to show you these straw flowers because I absolutely love straw flowers. And I don't know if some of you may remember, but for my birthday in February I was given a load of straw flower seeds, and to my great disappointment I tried sowing them twice and they just didn't come to anything. But thankfully these are straw flowers that I've had in since last year, and they've sent up some new growth, and there's a range of different colours and shapes, and I absolutely love them. For those of you who don't know straw flowers, they kind of grow from the start as if they are dried flowers. They're absolutely beautiful, really. I hadn't known about them till a couple of years ago, but they're great. And I've just spotted this little tumbling tomatoes here, and some cheeky thing has had the first of them, or had a good nibble at it anyway. So hopefully they won't have the rest, otherwise I'm going to have to move that as well. In fact, I'm wondering whether I ought to put it on the table already. Have a think about that. Yeah, and then we've got these, oh, what are these called? Crocosmia, I think. Yeah, they're a very, very red version of them. And tucked in amongst there, we've got some white currants. Well, actually, maybe that's a better view there. They seem to be ready for harvesting. Oh yes, I had to show you also on this table. I found I had this, and this was very tiny. It's grown quite a bit in the last few weeks actually, and I noticed it had a little berry on. I couldn't for the life of me remember what it was, but looking at the berry I thought that looks like a mulberry, and I Google imaged the plant, and indeed it is a mulberry plant. So I have a mini mulberry tree growing on my patio table. I don't know whether it's going to be a dwarf one or whether I need to get it out somewhere, but that's brilliant because I've always wanted a mulberry tree. And then I'm just about now to head down the garden path, which a few months ago was absolutely covered in bluebells, and now they've gone and we're on to the other flowers. So before we do, here we've got a little medlar tree, which sadly, unlike the medlar tree in my Riverside allotment, only ever has one or two little medlars, and they're not looking particularly great either. Now the fig tree, which is growing in a barrel as well, has got quite a few little figs growing there, so fingers crossed for them. It dropped off last year. Oh, forgot to say, yes, on the patio we've got a Bardsey apple tree and a peg bag, dirty old peg bag, and a quince tree. Now it's getting quite dark to actually see these. Let's see if we can zoom in. Do you see that one there? Yeah, there's a quince growing there. We've got quite a few, so I'm really looking forward to those. I discovered last year that you can actually roast quinces and have them a bit like parsnips, and I did that quite a lot, and they were really, really tasty. So alongside this side of the path is where I created a flower bed last year, where it had just been lawn before, and it's doing quite well. So we've got a new rose here, which is the Lady Gardener, so that's just getting established. On this side, by the way, we've got a load of mint, and as you walk past it, it just wafts, and the fragrance is amazing. So here also we've got, now the colours I think are probably looking a little bit more garish than they are in real life on the camera, but I've got some of my dahlias. Now these are dahlias that I pulled up the tuberts for and replanted them. So that's Caitlin's Joy, which was one of my great favourites from last year. I say, I think the colours are much more subtle than you may be seeing them here. And this is interesting, this is bantling. Now, it didn't have that yellow middle last year, so it seems to have had some sort of transformation while it was in storage as a tuber. The cosmos are starting to come up in force, and this beautiful white flower is in fact some celery that I left in. And there's nothing to show you on this one, which is a shame because this is a very beautiful rose, although it does get black spot a lot. It's a very dark purple rose called Cardinal Richelieu. Some more Apricotta Cosmos, such a beautiful colour, although they do seem to get quite raggedy quite quickly compared with other cosmos. Another dahlia has come up there, which hasn't started flowering yet. And I think I must have split the bantling in half because there's another one of it there. And then here we have one of my favourite roses. Again, it's a very, very subtle colour. It's looking a little bit brasher in the video than it actually is. It's called Hot Chocolate. It's just kind of got that sort of rich creaminess to the colour that you possibly can't see, but you can see it's blooming beautifully there. And then walking into the old greenhouse, we've got a lot going on here. So this is where I grow my main indoor tomatoes. And I had a lovely surprise when I came in here the other day, which I'll clip in now. Oh my goodness, what have we got here? My first tomato of 2026. I'm so... Oh! I didn't mean to do that then. I was going to do it for the harvest thing, you know, the shorts. Cameras are all way up now. Oh well, I'm going to try it. It's really yummy. And it's really weird because it's not one of the ones like I consciously went out and bought to get. It's actually a tomato from the Witch magazine, Witch Gardening magazine trial. Yeah, it's called Red Alert, and yeah, that was really nice. My first tomato, how exciting. So yeah, that was the Red Alert tomato, which has given me my first ripe tomato of the season. But there aren't any more to be seen. That sometimes happens like that, doesn't it? And then we've got melons and all sorts of other things. Aubergines growing here. Cucumber. Oh, look! Look, I've actually got a cucumber coming. Amazing. You never think you're going to get one. Oh, I can see a little aubergine growing there as well. Oh no, I think that's a dragon's egg cucumber actually, yes. So I've tried to give these a bit more space than they all had last year, which doesn't look like it, but believe me, it is. It's not quite so crowded. And then tucked in here I've got some little pops, which are spare squash plants, which you can see from the colours of their leaves are needing desperately to go out. So they'll go out next week, where I've taken my broad beans up at the allotment. So yeah, this is really nice growing space because it doesn't get quite too hot, but it does get hot and warm, just right for them. Right, then I want to show you something which is new for this year. And those of you who know me will know I'm a sucker for a marketplace bargain. And I bought for 40 quid, I think. I think it was 8 or 9 of these tomato growing mini greenhouses. And my tomatoes are indeed growing very well. So I've used these. Let me just open them up. Put them to bed for the night. So yeah, I've used these to grow 3 tomatoes at a time in. Those tomatoes that I saved as indoor varieties, those that don't do so well outside, but they're in these little mini greenhouses and they're doing quite well. I'll show you the best of them in a minute. So I've got 3 there. Oh, and then in this one I've got some chilies and peppers. So I've got some peppers growing there. So that'll be good. And I think one of them's a sweet pepper as well. So I'm hoping that those do well in there too. And then if we go round, so these are attached so as not to blow away to our bunny pen. So this is where the bunnies come and play when they go outside. They are indoor bunnies, but they have a bunny pen to come and play when it's not too hot, not too cold, and not too wet. So let's have a look. I just want to show you my best tomatoes because I think these are the best out of all of the ones I've got. Look at these monsters. Yeah, I've actually been and taken some of the leaves off the bottom today, but they are really doing well and I can't wait to see them develop some fruit. And this one here, I believe, the other one, and we've got some nice green tomatoes developing there. So lots of leaves, not a lot of tomatoes as yet, but it's early days yet, and I hope to see lots more to come. So I'm just going to take a seat down now at our new little table and I'll show you what I can see in front of me. So there's the stump of a very sad old walnut tree that came down in the storms about 18 months ago. But you can see it's growing from the stump some new growth, and we're going to let that grow and see what happens. And then behind that we've got a very large horse chestnut tree which has got lots of conkers on it, although not quite as many as last year. We had a real bumper year for conkers last year, which the squirrels absolutely love, and you can see them running about with them. So yeah, that's that. Now there we've got some tent pegs drying on the table actually, ready for a camping trip that's coming up. But there we've got a little old children's play shed really. It's not at all safe, it needs to come down, and it just looks quite sweet there as it is. That's just a camping shed. So yeah, that's what's going on here. Let's go and take a look at where we get the sunsets. Oh, this is our fire pit. Yeah, so occasionally, although not as often as we used to do, we have sit around the fire of an evening and have have a drink and maybe toast things on the fire. It's quite fun to do. But we take that burner off. That's just burning garden waste, obviously. Oh, and yeah, massive log pile where one of our ash trees came down. So that'll be useful for firewood in the winter. And this is a very messy compost bay area, which I have to be honest doesn't get used as much as it could do if it was actually at the allotment. Oh my gosh, I just have to show you my husband's tree chair. That has just recently been erected. And he takes some cushions and sits up in there and then looks across the field, which is nice. And that's the view back down the garden. Sorry about some of the mess. That's our old shed. It used to be a pig shed. Could do with nicely doing up really, I suppose. But I don't suppose it'll be me that gets to use it. Now, sadly, I can't give you a really beautiful sunset, but it's not bad, just as a nice silvery sky. That's the view from the end of our garden. And when it is a beautiful sunset, it's really beautiful. And then we've got some sheep in the field. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed this little garden tour, and I'll be back in the allotment soon and trying to do you some filming from there. In the meantime, happy gardening everyone. Take care. Bye bye.